So let's get into Toyota. Toyota Motor North America reports U.S. June and first half 2024 sales. Lexus records its best ever first half sales in its 35-year history. 1989, Lexus came into the market and disrupted the luxury market with the LS 400. And here they are, 35 years later, recording their best half of, well, I should say, best first half of sales ever. And that's even with CDK going down the last few days. Toyota still remains the industry's #1 retail brand. GM sells more in total, but GM sells a lot more fleet to rental companies, I don't know, airports, that sort of thing. If we look at their electrified vehicle share of their lineup anyways, it's at 38.3% on the first half. So that's more than 454,000 hybrids, plug-in hybrids, EVs, and a few Mirais sprinkled in there. This is going to change massively. I've done some calculations. By 2 years, 3 years from now, it could be over 60% of total sales volume being electrified here in North America. All right, so I'm not going to go over all these individual records. We'll be here all day long. This is something I found quite funny earlier. It says total NX had the best ever first half sales, and they have HX plug-in hybrid. It's just a typo. But unless, you get your tinfoil hats, maybe there's a new Lexus model coming out called the HX. It's not, it's just a typo, guys. It's supposed to be NX. So let's get into the sales. And this graph shows us year to date. So we're looking at the entire first half compared to last year. Overall, when you combine Toyota and Lexus, it's up 14% on a volume basis. Lexus up 12%, Toyota up 14%. But if you check this out, Toyota was down 2%. You can, again, chalk that up to CDK being down a portion of the month as well. But Lexus up 6% on the month. So let's get into the Corolla. Corolla's down 11% on the month, still up 23% on the year. I don't exactly understand why it's down 11%, but Supra up 10%. It's still down 8% on the year. GR86 up 42%. The BRZ is down quite a bit, but on the month of June, GR86 up 27%. Mirai down 95%. Toyota doesn't care to even bring any more Mirais to the market. They've only sold 245 so far this year. There are just no hydrogen systems. So it's just, yes. Anyways, Crown up 21% on the month and up 128% on the year. Again, it wasn't sold the entire first half of 2023. All right, so they've sold about 14,000 Crowns so far this year, which is in line with about 30,000 of planned sales. I think the Crown Signia will only be about 20,000 per year once that's up and running. Again, that vehicle's been delayed too. Prius, it's on a stop sale. They sold 13. All right, Prius, I think it's a rear door handle, can come unlatched. Even despite it being down 100% on the month, it is still up on the year, but don't get me started on the Prius. It's a vehicle that a lot of people want, and they'll just go get a Corolla hybrid if they want something super thrifty, or they'll go get a Camry hybrid, which is, the Camry hybrid, after just testing, it has a bigger engine in it. It's a bigger car than the Prius. It's actually slower than the Prius, which is surprising because it has about 30 more horsepower or so. Camry down 14% on the month, still up on the year. Why is it down on the month? Well, they're switching over from the previous generation to the newest 2025 model year. All new hybrid powertrain, all new exterior bits and bobs. Even though it's the same platform, it's a much better car. Watch all my Camry impressions. I have one for the whole week this week. I just did a nighttime review. Check out that nighttime driving impressions. Okay, let's get into the Toyota crossovers, then we'll circle back to the Lexus cars. All right, BZ4X up 158% on the year, up 120% on the month. It's still, they sold 9,000 of them. And it's just sad because so many people want the Prius. And here's a BZ4X selling at 1,300 for the month, and the Prius sold 13. Yeah, it's 100 times more volume. RAV4 up 9% on the month, up 32% on the year. The RAV4 is supposed to get a redesign sometime in 2025. All right. probably with the Camry's 2.5-liter 5th generation powertrain and a new Prime model, hopefully with a different battery configuration. Corolla Cross up 54% on the month, up 60% on the year. Corolla Cross is selling very, very well. The Corolla Cross Hybrid, I just reviewed one not too long ago. I really liked it, and it's a good buy. That's a really good buy because there's no other hybrid compact crossovers, or should I say subcompact crossovers in the market. Moving on to the Venza, rest in peace. But hey, Toyota has given it lots of volume for its last model year, up 65% for the first half and up 80% on the month. I love the Toyota Venza. It is kind of like a Lexus NX with maybe better styling. That's subjective. And not quite as quiet. Technology maybe not quite as impressive, but you're getting Lexus build quality here, and it is imported from Japan, where most of the NXs are built in Canada, so I'm going to miss the Venza. And after driving the Crown Signia, the Venza is a better car. There's no doubt about it. The Venza is smoother, quieter, more refined than the Crown Signia, which kind of feels like a rush product after driving it. There's just a lot of NVH in it in comparison compared to the Venza or other Lexus models. All right, Highlander down 52% on the month. Well, remember, the Highlander production went down as Grand Highlander production soared. So it's down about 50% on the year, but the problem is the Grand Highlander just got smacked with a stop sale in June. All right, so the Grand Highlander, this is going to really hurt Toyota's bottom line sales by the end of the year. We don't know when the Grand Highlander or the TX down here, we don't know when it's going to come back online. And let me know, I just forgot that I had my little highlighter. Maybe you guys would like to see this highlighter. If you enjoy the highlighter for the pointer, the mouse pointer, let me know if it's easier for you to follow what I'm saying. All right, yes, Grand Highlander, it's selling well, and it would be selling better. But look at this. They sold 6,000 in the month of June, with half of the month being on a stop sale. They've sold 55,000 so far this year. All right. And you can add the TX to that, which has sold 21,000. So big, impressive volume numbers for Grand Highlander. It's a really good vehicle. I can't recommend the TX for how good the Grand Highlander is. The TX just costs too much and doesn't give you enough in return. And same thing with the Lexus UX. It costs too much over the Corolla Cross Hybrid and doesn't give you as much as I would want to see for the price increase. 4Runner. We have a new 4Runner upon us. I will be driving it in September, but on the month it was up about 3%. It's up 31% on the year. The 4Runner, people are here's the thing, after the Tacoma being not the most well-received with the turbo engines and it being overpriced and all these things with the Toyota pickup trucks right now, I bet people are trying to flock to this 4Runner because it's tried true, bulletproof with the V6 and its ancient architecture. People are probably flocking to this thing before the new 4Runner hits the market this fall. Sequoia's up 34% on the year, up 44% on the month. Sequoias have not been hit with a recall because all Sequoias are hybridized, and the hybrids have not yet been recalled. There is a strong possibility that Toyota could still recall hybrid Toyota Tundras with a twin-turbo V6 as well as Sequoias. I had a follower reach out to on the channel. He said his hybrid Tacoma left him and his family stranded in the mountains in New York. Okay, so I think we could see a recall coming for just about all Tundra and Sequoias with the twin-turbo V6, even if they're hybrid. Time will tell, though. All right, Land Cruiser, well, it's back. You know, they actually sold one of the old Land Cruisers last June, and they sold 4 of them in the first half of last year. But yeah, it's up 206,000%. And it sold 2,000 in the month of June. All right. Actually, some were sold in May, it looks like, too. So anyways, Land Cruiser will be fun to see the volume on that as time goes on. All right, my beloved Sienna. You guys know I have a Sienna. It's not the hybrid, but it's up 17% on the year, down 15% on the month. yikes, there's already a huge demand for the Sienna, and it doesn't help when we see, drops in sales volume for the month of June. Let's get into Toyota's pickup trucks, then we'll get into Lexus. The Tacoma, down 40% on the year. Again, this is one of the additional reasons why Toyota's sales are down for the month of June, is that the Tacoma it's down massive. It's down 30% for the month of June, 40% on the year. This is typically a super predictable selling vehicle for Toyota, and the new generation's been anything but that. It's been a huge headache in terms of the pricing reception due to the turbo 4-cylinder, a lot of people not being that interested in it. It's interesting to see the Tacoma sales down so much. Also, the production has been hampered by a shaky employment situation down in Mexico and a shaky supplier of parts situation down in Mexico, which is also affected by staffing issues. So I don't know where the new next generation is going to settle at in terms of sales volume. The days of it selling 250,000 vehicles per year those days might be done. They're going to hit, at this pace, they're going to hit 140,000. It's kind of a mess. Tundra sales are up 31% despite the recall. And the new ones are not recalled. It's only 22 to 23 model year non-hybrids, and not all of them, like 104 to 108,000 or so. But the Tundra sales are up, and I saw a Toyota ad on TV, and it seemed very much like trying to put out the fires and saying like, I love my Tundra. It's made in America. It's never let me down. It felt like a straight cover up, or just like, it reminded me when Budweiser did a bunch of their, reparation videos saying like, hey, we're the most American beer, after their controversial advertising that really tore down the company, all right, with the Bud Light situation. I almost felt like that's a little bit of the same vibe I was getting with the Tundra commercial that I got. I'm not saying it was a bad commercial, but it felt forced and it didn't feel genuine from Toyota. All right. It was kind of like, hey, don't look at the fires over here. Look at look at this, feel good story. It just felt off. All right. So maybe it's working for them. They do marketing quite well, Toyota, with their pickup trucks, but time will tell to see what's going to happen the rest of the year with the Tundra, the Tacoma. And let's get into Lexus. IS down 9% on the year, down 15 to 16% on the month. We could be getting a refreshed, again, third generation IS. This would be the third refresh on the IS, slightly different styling, supposedly a hybrid powertrain to replace the V6 and the 4-cylinder turbo. Don't know how I feel about that. I would have to see the technology first before I judge it or condemn it. But yeah, the IS 500 is supposed to stick around, which I know a lot of people would be happy about. So we'll see what happens with the IS, but seems to be getting an extension on life because they don't know what to do with battery electric sedans at this point in time. So anyways, RC up 12% on the year, down 12% on the month. Okay, so kind of a flip-flop there. RC is just a matter of time before they cancel, but they have to keep it around for their GT3 racing program until the LFR or whatever replaces it. Lexus ES up 1%. It's kind of just flatlined here. ES still made in Kentucky until next summer, and then it goes back to Japan for that next generation. Lexus LS, it's kind of floating around for the year. I mean, sales are nothing. The sales are terrible on the LS, 144 for the month and 1,200 for the year. Lexus' best vehicle is the LC500. Volume is kept low. It keeps the prices high on it. And it is probably the best built Lexus too right now. The LC500, not the hybrid. Don't. That's like sacrilege. What are they even selling for the LC hybrid right now? 1 a month, 8 on the year. Okay, it is a complete sacrilege to take that 5-liter V8, which is absolutely tuned to perfection in that car with the exhaust system and everything. Anyways, LC500, it's just kind of cruising around the same sales volume. Let's go to the big sellers for Lexus. It's not their sedans. The ES is their best-selling sedan by a mile. Actually, the ES outsells all the other sedans and coupes combined. easily. All right, so if we look at the crossovers now for Lexus, this doesn't come as a surprise to me, and I don't know why the sales volume is down so much on the UX. It's just priced so high. And for what you're getting, you can get a decontented NX, which is a much better vehicle compared to the UX. It's smoother, quieter, more powerful. It's bigger. And the UX is really, really small on the inside. And the NX is still a pretty compact SUV. It's easier to park. So the NX Hybrid, the 350h, I'd be spending just a little bit more money than what you get on the UX. And if you're thinking about a UX, don't buy it. Go either get an NX Hybrid or a Corolla Cross Hybrid. All right, with the sales being down so much here, doesn't surprise me, even though they updated the powertrain to match what the Prius has, to match what the Corolla Cross has finally. But it shouldn't match. It's a Lexus. It shouldn't necessarily match what its much cheaper Toyota siblings have. It should be able to excel them, and you should be able to justify the price, but that's not happening here. All right, NX sales, they are positive for the year, down a little bit on the month, but I think it's kind of got to the point, the NX, where it's just about as much as they can sell of it per year or per month at this point. So they're at where they want to be with the NX. RZ, well, we saw the BZ4X was up a lot. RZ, the sister vehicle made in Motomachi in Japan, is also up a ton. They've sold 5,600 of the RZ this year compared to about 9,500 for the BZ4X. The RZ might be the quietest Lexus. It is so quiet, super smooth, but it charges slow and it has really limited range. It's a really good city car. Hey, I'd rather have an NX or an RX hybrid probably over the RZ. But yeah, it's doing well. It's doing well for them, at least in sales numbers, but they are losing money on it, surely, with the incentives that they have on that vehicle. All right, RX down 4% on the year, 2.5% on the month. I also think the RX is kind of where they want it to be in terms of max volume here. TX, well, they've sold 21,000. That really has helped Lexus have the best first half of the year like ever, right? In 35 years, the best first half of the year, largely thanks to the TX, right? Because what else is going on for Lexus, right? I mentioned the IS is down, RC is such low volume, doesn't matter. ES is neutral, LS and LC, their specialty, low volume. UX is down, all right? NX is neutral about, RX is slightly down, RZ, well, sure, you can add that in there, but really it's thanks to the TX absolutely coming out of nowhere and selling a ton for the luxury brand. All right, even though I think the Grand Highlander is a much better buy, it's pretty much the same vehicle, just not quite as quiet. Okay, the TX is smoother and quiet, but anyways, I don't need to beat a dead horse. I'd pick the Grand Highlander over the TX. GX also has the Land Cruiser, right? So here's the GX. It's sold 9,000 this year, which is going to include the 4.6 liter GX 460 in there as well. It is down though 31% on the year, 31% on the month. The GX has had production issues. It's had a stop sale at the port. I don't know when the volume will get back up on it. It's just, Toyota seemingly having a lot of issues with especially their new cars this year, the new cars and trucks. The LX is down on the year, up on the month. I think like potentially GX buyers, if they can't get their GX, they'll just go to the LX. They'll just spend 20 grand more, whatever it is, 30 grand more. The thing is, the GX is a better vehicle than the LX now. The LX is better in terms of pure luxury, but the GX offers a lot of technology and features that the LX doesn't, like a panel roof, for example. KDSS or electronic KDSS. So I like the GX better than the LX. The styling is far better. And I think since the volume is down so much here, there's an over demand. So maybe the LX is selling quite well for the month of June, despite it being down on the year. And it's crazy with all the hiccups Toyota is dealing with, from the Prius to the Grand Highlander stop sales, to the recalls on the Tundra, to the supply chain issues and staffing issues, forcing a lot of issues with the Tacoma production and the high prices. Despite all the things that they are struggling with and the GX hiccups in terms of volume, despite all that, they are still up 12% on DSR rate, but 14% on the year. They're down just 1% on the month, despite stop sales on some really big products and recalls on big products too. That's what happens when you have so many eggs spread out in multiple baskets. If some of those eggs get stolen or cracked or you lose them, that's okay, because you have 30 other baskets of segments and vehicles to kind of just weather the storm. If you look at someone like Acura, which we'll talk about here in just a second, if one of those goes missing, the whole ship starts sinking, right? If one of those eggs, they pretty much have all their eggs in like 2 baskets, where Toyota and Lexus, it's just like spread out so strategically.